Ironic that I'm filming a summer reading video when it's actually really rainy outside. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking all about my summer reading plans. So I'm almost done reading all of my scheduled reading for the Women's Prize for Fiction books, which means I should be free to read whatever I want over the summer. Emily Henry's new book came out like sometime in May and everyone was talking about it, so I was like, oh, I really want to read it, but I was still reading all my old books. So I caved and I bought Funny Place. You can see I've already put a bookmark in it, that's how eager I am to read it. Funny Place, that's literally two books merged into one. Funny Story by Emily Henry. So we follow basically this woman, Daphne, and her husband, or her fiance essentially, decides that actually he's in love with his childhood best friend. So then he breaks up with her, goes to be with his childhood best friend, and Daphne kind of has to roommate with the childhood best friend's partner. So it's like, you know, swapping, and then they decide they're gonna fake date to try and make the other ones jealous and just, you know, be like, haha. Everyone's talking about it. I really want to read it. It's going to be like my first read of the summer. And then to continue my Emily Henry summer, as I'm calling it, I've also got Beach Read, which I haven't read. I picked up Book Lovers by accident and was like, hang on, I've read this one. But yes, Beach Read, which is like two writers, I think. They go on holiday together and they kind of swap. One of them writes like romance, one writes like lit fic. So they kind of swap genres and decide to write for like the other's genre. Oh, it's trying to get over their writer's block. That's what they're doing. And then obviously they fall in love. So that sounds interesting. You and Me on Vacation, also by Emily Henry. This one, I always thought, like, because they have two different names for the books. Like, so one's like the UK name and then the other one's like, America? I don't know, rest of the world. But I always thought that it's People We Meet on Vacation. But I thought that was the UK one because I hear so many people talk about it, but it's You and Me on My Vacation. I don't know why it's different. I feel like People We Meet on Vacation is better. It's a bit more vague, you know? It's like, you don't know what's going on. So this is about Poppy and Alex, who kind of were friends and they used to go on holiday all the time together, and then something happens and they don't speak, and then they decide to, you know, go on one more trip. I think it's like friends to lovers, kind of like they've been friends for years and they kind of like harbor these feelings for each other. One year, I think they decide to go on one last trip, and then obviously, you know, things happen. But again, another romance. Maybe I'll be burnt out on romance and Emily Henry, but this is my Emily Henry summer and I feel like that's what's happening. So Emily Henry summer, reading all of those. And then I have already read Book Lovers and Happy Place. I loved Book Lovers and I didn't like Happy Place that much. I gave it like 3 stars. It was like very mid, not as, I didn't like it as much as Book Lovers. And then once I've burnt myself out on all of the romance, I will move on to horror. So I want to read the book with the longest title ever, The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. I've read a couple of Grady Hendrix already and I love them. They're just like good fun horror, and this one I feel like everyone loves. So I want to get to it. It's like suburban book clubs, and then a vampire comes to town and then, you know, they have to deal with that. Oh, I think she even, you know, starts getting involved with this vampire. But, you know, people start going missing and she starts suspecting that something's happening, and obviously it's a vampire. So that sounds really fun. And also I want to, by Grady Hendrix, I also want to get to My Best Friend's Exorcism, which also sounds kind of fun. Like, it's horror, but it's not like, I feel like it's a good summer horror because of it sounds quite like campy and fun, and like it's about like 2 teenagers and their best friends. One of them gets possessed and the other one is trying to figure out how to do an exorcism. So yeah, it sounds like a good summer horror, not a winter horror. And then I was like, what else do I really want to read? And then I was like, I might as well get to all the sequels and like the series that I'm in the middle of. So I was like, I've been neglecting Orange. This is like, there's only 2 minutes, so I just need to finish this one and then it will be done. But I feel like part of me is like, I don't want it to be over, so I'm trying not to read it, but I also need to read it soon, otherwise I'll forget what happened in the first one. But it's kind of this cutesy little like sci-fi / slice of life series. about a girl going back in time trying to save one of her high school friends. So that's on here. It's a manga and it feels summery and kind of sad, but also summery. And then in the same vein of catching up on series, I also want to read Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. I haven't taken the sticker off yet, which is a scary task in case it leaves a mark on the book. But this is the sequel to Ninth House, which I read maybe last year, maybe the year before actually. It might have been early last year, but I can still remember what happened in that and kind of where things left off, because I do believe it left off on quite a big kind of like cliffhanger. So I'm excited to read this. I liked Ninth House. It was, you know, it's like dark academia, kind of about a girl who can see ghosts and like spirits, and she kind of gets taken in by Yale like university to kind of oversee all these different like societies that do things with the supernatural and kind of use different supernatural things. So she's kind of like they just want to use her abilities to kind of keep them in check. So she kind of gets involved in this, and this follows on after the kind of cliffhanger of what happened in the first book. So yes, this is another duology, so it'll be done once I finish this. So that's why I want to get to this. Then this is one I picked up relatively recently, which is Herc by Phoenicia Rogerson, which is a Hercules retelling. I feel like I get through one Greek mythology retelling a year, so this is going to be this year's, I think. It's either this or it's Electra by Jennifer Saint. You know, it will be one of these. I feel like I love a Greek mythology retelling, and I love a Greek mythology retelling in the summer. So this is on there. And also another book I picked up recently is Earthsea, which is kind of like I think it's like a classic fantasy. I don't feel like I've really heard too much about, but when I have seen things about it, everyone says it's really good. And I think because it's a bit older, it was done like in the 1960s, I think. I think not many people, it's like just a bit older, so not so many people are reading it. This is like the first 4 books. I found there's an HMV in the 2 for £7 kind of deal section I thought was really good. So it's got like 4 different books in, so I think this will be really interesting to read and kind of see how it's like inspired other fantasy books. And it's like got blurbs from like Margaret Atwood, Stephen King and Neil Gaiman. So like Stephen King says, a literary icon. Then this next section is going to be books that I am in the middle of and have kind of put down but need to pick up again and need to finish once I finished all of my Women's Prize reading. Okay, so first of all, there's Out There Screaming, which is an anthology of horror stories, which I've been reading since like Christmas. Because of it's a short story collection, I feel like it's fine that I've had it on. I've just been currently reading it for quite a while. It's nice just to pick up this and then just read a short horror story whenever I'm feeling in the mood. So this I will hopefully finish, you know, sometime this year. I'm also in the middle of Emma still, which is obviously by Jane Austen. I started reading this when I went to Bath, and then I haven't finished it because I got distracted by other books. But I feel like, again, this is a classic, so I feel like I like reading them quite slow and taking my time with it and not trying to get through it too fast. And just the way that classics are written, it just does take a little bit longer to read, I find, at least. So another one that I'm fine with taking my time with, but over summer I'm going to try and get through and finish. And then the other one is Interesting Facts About Space, which I was enjoying, but I had other books come up that I wanted to read, so I kind of put it on hold. But I think I have it on Audible, so I want to finish that. I probably will just restart it just so that I can remember exactly where I was. You're essentially just following this one character and her kind of like struggles, and the thing she goes through is not really much plot. It's basically no plot, all vibes, that kind of thing. So I'll probably restart the audiobook of that. So that's everything that's on my summer TBR for now. I might amend it as time goes on. I feel like summer lasts, like, you know, longer than most other seasons. Maybe I'm starting it that early, but yes, those are all the books that I'm planning on reading this summer. Let me know in the comments below what books you're planning on reading this summer, and if you've read any of these. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!